Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode. This is your host, David Kim. I just found that your company name is very interesting, right? Crave Global.
Right. So the name Crave was already taken, but I like Crave Global because Crave has very different meanings, right? When you're hungry, you crave something, right? You crave for
Yes,
food.
right.
But if you love a celebrity, let's say you love basketball or music, you crave your heroes, right? Almost, right? So, but simple word, but has many different meaning behind it, right? But it means that you're hungry.
Yes,
You are looking for something,
right.
right? Yearning for something. And
Yeah.
then global is we live in the world is getting smaller. We live in a global marketplace. And what's interesting is entertainment, whether sports or music or movies, it transcends language and culture. It doesn't matter what country you live in, what language you speak. We can listen to same music. We can all watch a Lakers basketball game. Doesn't matter.
Yes,
Right.
true.
So that's what I like about entertainment is that there's no borders. There's no walls that separates people from around the world. That's why it's global.
Yes, with the huge success of Parasite, we saw that
Right.
American people ready to read the subtitle for 2 hours, right?
Because the story is very good, right? Story, it's really about storytelling. So when we started Crave, for us, it's about how do we tell the story of these celebrities to an audience in China who didn't grow up here? It's different language and different culture, and how do we transform that story? But all of us individually have our own unique story. So
Yes.
for me, when I meet a new person like yourself, David, or any other, it's like reading a book. It's like reading a new book because each one of us have our own unique story, and it's very interesting, right?
Yes. But my experience is culture is borderless, yes, like a movie and music especially. But when it comes down to the actual product, we need to deliver it. They need to stop by or reach out to the platform where they can buy the product. And there is some little bit of a barrier, like acceptance issue, right? For example, Korean restaurant, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, if I travel Asia and Europe, maybe 70% of customer are Korean. Now it's a complete different situation. 90%, 95% are the local people or foreigner, right?
Yep.
Taste have never changed. So
yes, so you're right. So you have to tell the story that fits the culture, right? You can't just copy and paste, right? Your Instagram story and then just put it on China or any other country. So what we do is, how do we tell that story to the audience? So, we always think about who the audience is and how would they accept and hear the story and they can understand it. It's all about understanding the story, right?
I think we can have a little bit free conversation, but still, why don't you introduce yourself, your background, Johnny
Sure.
to founding the Crave Global?
Sure. My name is Charles Kim. I'm Korean. I live in LA. I came to America when I was 8 years old. I immigrated to Boston when I was 8 with my family. I have one sister. And the reason that we went to Boston because my aunt sponsored us for the visa, lived in Boston. So obviously we moved there. So I grew up in Boston, went to middle school, high school, college in Boston. After college, I moved to New York and started in finance and Wall Street. So my background is not in sports or entertainment, but it's actually in finance. But I think I'm more. I would say looking at who I am is I'm more creative than I am more analytical.
That's what I felt. What
Yeah.
I felt. You don't smell like a finance guy.
Yeah, I don't want to stare at a screen and do Excel models all day, right? But what I like to do is try to really I didn't mind doing like presentations because it's about, again, the presentation is telling a story about a company or a stock, right?
Yes.
So yeah, um, so over 20-year career in finance, I did everything from sales and trading to investment banking. I had an opportunity in 2005 where Lehman hired me to go to Korea. So I convinced my wife, I have 3 kids, and sold my house in New Jersey and moved to Korea in 2005. Started for Lehman Brothers, and it took me 3 months to convince my wife. She didn't want to go. She's like, yeah, I'm not going to go. You go by yourself. I'm not going to go to Korea with 3 kids. No way. But it took me 3 months. And then, and guess what happened in 2008? Financial crisis. And there's only one investment bank that went bankrupt, Lehman.
Yep.
So I picked the
Yes.
right one. So
Yes.
she was not happy with that. She said, you like reverse lotto. You can pick all the losers.
Right.
And I said, well, I picked you, so it's not bad. I didn't make all bad decisions.
Maybe it's that's another opportunity for you to change it. Correct. I mean the direction, better direction, right?
Well, I had an opportunity. So what happened was after that I left, and then Lehman, right, and then I started working for Murray Asset, and that was my first time working for a Korean company. It was really an eye-opening experience, but I learned a lot. I learned really about culture of Korean companies, how they did business. And Mirai was supposed to be sort of this, progressive company, right, with Chairman Park. But I think Korean company, the structure is pretty much all the same, right? It's like this conglomerate structure. But I learned a lot. And it was a great experience as a Korean, as a Gilpo, as a Korean American, to work for a Korean company. Obviously, I had a lot of adjustment period.
Yes.
But again, every situation I'm in, I look at it as a learning experience, right? Learning experience. And then I moved after that. My kids were getting older, so we lived in Korea for about 6 years. We decided to move to LA. So I moved to LA 2011. But what's interesting, my time in Korea was not so much about Korea. I used to go to China a lot for business, and my eyes opened about China, right? Of course, I'm not Chinese. I don't speak the language. I never really understood China. But when I used to do business there, I realized, wow, China is the future. Just whatever we think about China, despite our biases or opinion, the fact is there's 1.5 billion people.
Yes.
The fact is, technology has completely changed China. The fact is the Chinese are getting wealthy, right? Growing middle class. So we will never, ever see ever again in our lifetime where you have one country, one language in a population like that, where you start to see a growth of middle class. And China's no different than Japan in the 70s, Korea in the 80s, when you start to see, growth in middle class. And then once you have this middle class growth, then you have, growth in consumption, right? People want to buy, people want to be entertained, people want to travel because now you have money.
Yes. Yeah.
And then I said to myself, when I came to LA, I said, I need to work for the Chinese. I need to understand China. I said, how does a Korean guy who doesn't speak the language get access to China? I said, I need to work for a Chinese company. And I remember my friends were saying, oh, why don't you work for Goldman or Morgan Stanley? I said, no. China is the future. I need to learn China because I'm not Chinese. And by luck, I met this guy. He was amazing. His name was Bao Fan. He started a boutique investment bank called China Renaissance.
Yes.
And we talked for a long time, and he took a chance on me, and he hired me to open up the US office. Now, the reason I respect Bao Fan so much is, most foreign companies, when they do overseas business, they would want to hire their own people, right?
Yes.
Someone that can speak to. So if you're a Chinese company, you want to hire somebody who's Chinese. If you're a Korean company, you want to hire somebody who's Korean. But he knew I wasn't in Chinese, but still he hired me because he knew I had a great relationship. So he's probably one of the smartest guy. He really understood beyond what normally people understand how to build a business. And his first part of his business was financial advisory, helping startups in China raise money. And through that experience, I worked with him for over 8 years. open up the U.S. office, open up the San Francisco office. I remember I started when there was just myself and one other person. Now we have a big office, and by the time I left, I think over 30 or 40 people in New York. We opened a San Francisco office. We were doing tons of IPOs, private placements, secondary markets. But what he did was help early stage Chinese technology companies raise money. Right. And my job was to help foreign companies invest in Chinese technology companies. And this was, we were raising money for Series B at Didi Taxi, all the way to Kuaishou to, you name it. We worked on almost every billion-dollar technology company you see today. And
Yes.
I got to meet amazing founders. And because I was like a sponge, right? I wanted to learn so much about China. When I was travel with all these founders, remember, when I met them, they were nobody. They weren't billionaires, right? They were just startup founders. So I would just ask them a million questions, like, why did you start this business? How do you scale? Why is this using this strategy? Why are you raising money? Because I wanted to learn so much about China and how Chinese did business. And they were willing to tell me everything. I learned so much.
Yes. Sounds like a similar experience I'm having now. I have interviewed 100 entrepreneurs now. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
So then, by working in the US, I realized Americans didn't understand China, right? If you ask an average person, hey, what do you think of China? 8 out of 10 is negative, right? Oh, it's a communist government, they steal your technology, they copy everything, you can't trust them, how do you take your money out, the virus. So when you have like 8 out of 10 things negative thought, then you're going to get scared of the country. So people are scared. So conceptually there's a huge market, but you're scared to go there because the unknown.
Do you know the very interesting story? I spoke to the many African entrepreneur. Some of them is American founder who started a business in Africa. He or she said they are leveraging Chinese case to convince American investor. You complained a lot 20 years ago about the China, but you missed the opportunity, right? Are you going to miss the same opportunity in Africa now? It has different infrastructure anyway, right?
I kind of agree. I think Africa is the next frontier because, if you look at the continent of Africa, it's 1.2 billion people right now. Nigeria in 10 years will have more people than United States. United States current population is 331 million. Nigeria will have more people than US in 10 years.
Yep. Yes.
Right. But what's interesting is China today is same population as continent of Africa and US combined. Same as Africa and US combined. That's how big China is. People don't understand how big China is. Sometimes people ask me, hey, why don't you focus on Korea? You're Korean. I said, Korea's population is 50 million. That's one city in China.
Yes, true.
Right? So because of this fear of China, because fear of unknown, it's people are so scared to go to China, they don't, even though there's great opportunity. And I felt like because of my knowledge of China, my experience and my connections, I could build that bridge. And what I realized was, there's a lot of, China, so when you're poor, you think of 3 things: food, shelter, and safety. When you have disposable income, when you become middle class, you think of 3 other things. First is, and this is all human being, is you want to live longer, right? What does that mean? Vitamin, exercise, better food, organic food, better healthcare, whatever is going to make you live longer. Second is entertainment, because you have more time and money. So what is entertainment for you? It could be, riding a bicycle, listening to music, watching movies. And then third is e-commerce, purchasing, because you have money. Now you can buy stuff, buy clothes and travel. And that's where China is today, right? At that stage where there's a massive consumption. And also you go up the value stream, meaning if you have money, you want to buy quality stuff. If you don't have money, you buy whatever you can, right? And so there's a huge demand for, foreign products because there's perception the quality is better, right?
Agree.
Yeah.
So with Crave Global, what problem are you solving now?
So that's a great question. What problem? So everything I look at is problem solving. Yep. And the biggest problem was today there are more basketball fans in China than population of the United States. There's over 400 million basketball fans. So they love NBA. But all these NBA players and NBA themselves, these NBA players would go to China once a year because of Nike. So they're tied to the brand. But what they didn't realize was that they are the brand, not Nike. 20 years ago, you needed Nike because there's no way you can communicate to your fans. There was no Instagram or Facebook, right? Today, there's so many different ways you can communicate to your fans. You don't need the brands. So we have this power shift where everything becomes personality driven. Okay. So that means, but these athletes and these agents, because they don't understand China, they don't understand how to build a brand. So the problem I'm solving is how to get into the China market, how to get engagement, build up a fan base, and how to build your own brand and IP, right? Because end of the day, if you sign with Nike, if Nike gives you $10 million, Nike's making 100, they own the IP. And we're all human beings. We're gonna get old. You can't beat up by the time, right? And when you're old, you're retired, Nike's gonna move on. There's always been new basketball players, new musicians. So you got to build your brand while you're top of your game. And most of these guys didn't know how to do it. So what I'm solving is how to build your own brand and your own IP in a market that's 5 times bigger than US.
Yes, that's sounds very interesting idea, but make a lot of sense and it's very straightforward. But how come we haven't had that kind of business model in the past? That's my personal question. So, what is your business model? Can you explain how your business model works?
Yeah, well, we didn't have something in the past because most Americans didn't understand China, right? So how would they, how would they do it, right? So our business model is basically we are a turnkey solution, right? We manage everything from social media, right, all the way to manufacturing, all the way to building the brand, and talking to their fans, right? So what are the challenges, right? Well, you got language and cultural differences, right? You got, inability to secure trusted Chinese partners. Number 3 is lack of comfort experience, unfamiliar with China, the way they do business China, or the Chinese social media, because there is no Instagram. China government blocks everything, right? So there's no Facebook, there's no Instagram, there's no Snap. And difficulty gaining insight into customer base in China. Most people don't understand the customers. So what we did was we eliminated those challenges, right? So intimate knowledge of social media and consumer market nuances. Remember, I helped raise money for a lot of these social media companies in the beginning. I worked with these guys, right? Deep relationship with the social media e-commerce players. We're going to potentially leverage celebrity clients and collaboration strategies, right? There's a lot of Chinese brands that want to work with these global celebrities, right, to promote their brand. Ability to utilize broad-based, what we call KOLs, to enhance sales performance. So we want to work with the local KOLs. And then we use the existing technology infrastructure. So we'll be doing, like, for example, a lot of live streaming from the US because live streaming is so big. And also, really helping them understand the fans and the customers, right? Giving them real insight into, who the customers are.
Yeah. It feels like you have a huge potential with your business model.
Thank you.
Too big to monetize over time, I think.
Well, it's big. So, we want to be the world's first end-to-end social commerce solution for global celebrities, right? To establish, grow, and monetize their fan base in China. That's our, mission.
So hearing from you, is it correct to say that you're basically using the brand value of the celebrity or sports stars, you are selling the product to the Chinese consumer? Is that how you make money?
Yes. So there's like 4 or 5 different ways to monetize. First is we can make exclusive content, right? That Chinese people So we can do exclusive content with social media companies to provide content that for China that Chinese people can't normally see, right? Second is building their own brand, merchandise. So we can make anything from T-shirts to cosmetics. It really doesn't matter. And then third is there's sponsorship, monetization opportunities, right? So think about it. There's top 3 shoe companies in China. So Li-Ning, Alta, Peak. They all want to use NBA players to promote their brand. So there's a lot of opportunity for these Western athletes, to drive direct revenue from Chinese brands as well, because the Chinese brands are getting very big and wealthy.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Do you have a competitor, direct or indirect competitor?
There's no real competitor in the U.S., but there's obviously there's many competitors in China, right? And they're very good. But the problem I see is that what they can't bridge is the cultural language gap. It's too big, because most of the people in China, they didn't grow up in the U.S., so it's very difficult. And then second part is, because these are celebrities, trust is a big factor. They have to trust the people that they work with.
Yeah, they feel more. Yes.
Yeah, based in LA, U.S. company, they feel more comfortable.
Yes. I know that. I understand that part very well. I work in the General Electric, and I know how they think in that.
Yeah.
I see. So in that sense, I can feel the how you position yourself. But can you tell us a little bit more the how do you differentiate your services against the other players in China?
Yeah. So number one is that even though we're a U.S. company, we are intimately familiar with the Chinese market, right? Because again, my experience as a banker and working with every social media company, e-commerce company. So instead of myself having my own app, I just partnered up with all the social media because they own the traffic. I partnered up with Alibaba and JD, right? Because they're the dominant e-commerce. Because for us, it's about getting access to 1.4 billion people, right? It's not for me to try to create my own app, and because at the end of the day, 2 things, right? User acquisition cost is very expensive, right? If you want to build a new social media, it'll cost you billions of dollars. Very expensive, because there has to be a reason why they need to go to your app. So for me, it's not about ego. It's not about creating my own app. It's about how do I work closely with the social media companies to provide them with the content, because remember, these are all public companies now. Their stock price is going to be contingent upon their daily DAU and MAU data. Are they growing their user base? And for social media, how do you grow their user base? It's through content, right? Look at TikTok. So secondly is we have built this trusted relationship within China too. I think that's really important, right? That it's not just trusted relationship in the US, but also build this trusted relationship and working with the social media, e-commerce company, as well as manufacturers, etc. And we and I've been doing that, working in China for the last 8 years. And the last is, I guess, what we do is we actually help develop the brand and IP, and we actually develop the brand. So we do everything from doing the trademark to filing into IP, intellectual property. We use our lawyers, and our model is the freemium model. So I don't charge, the celebrities any money. So for them, is no cost, because I always tell them, your risk is not China. Your risk is not being in China today when you're very famous.
That's a good way to explain. Yes.
Right. So I said, I'll take 100% of the risk. So I said, if you don't like me or Crave, you know what the worst case scenario for them is? They have more fans in China. That's the worst case scenario. Because right now they're at 0. Right? So even if I help them make $1, it's more than what they had yesterday.
Yeah.
And then same for their agents and managers. If they could have helped them make money in China, they would have done it already. They can't. So I partner with them. I don't want to be an agent. I don't want to be a manager, right? I partner with them so that if their clients make money, they make money.
Agree.
Yeah.
So can you tell us, I understand you have a lot of celebrity sports star on board your platform. Also, you're planning to have some more additional very famous celebrity and sports star. So, I mean, can you tell us a little bit who you have on your board? I mean, on board, and who you are planning to have your
Yeah,
plan?
so we have I would call we pivoted to three different areas. Originally,
Mm,
our vision was helping celebrities, but
mm,
we realized organizations need help too, meaning sports organizations. So we just partnered up with NFL. So I work with NFL China, work with NFL players and NFL teams to help
mhm,
them promote. I work with we're about to sign a deal with Pac-12 Conference, which represents the 12 universities in the West Coast. They
yes.
told me I had a call with them. They told me there's 30,000 Chinese students today at those 12 schools. So it's USC, UCLA, Berkeley, Stanford, Washington, Oregon, Arizona State. So these are all the schools that Chinese kids go
Mm,
anyway.
mm,
But these schools don't know how to connect to their alumni in China, right? So
yes.
we'll work with them to bring, let's say, USC or Berkeley basketball team to China and do an exhibition game for all the alumni there, right?
That's
About
a good way. Very good way.
yeah,
Yes.
right. So how do you because for a lot of a lot of the Chinese who are back in China, their connection to America is the school. They didn't grow up in America, right? They
Agree.
came for the school, so they love the school. This is their connection to U.S., their life here while they went to school, and is but the schools and the conferences and they don't have the resources to do it. So we'll partner up with them, and then we'll create new brands. So we work with celebrities to create new brands for the Chinese market as well.
Yeah. I think that's much better way is instead
Yeah.
of dealing with the individual celebrity, right? Yeah.
Well, no. I mean, they're all different. I mean, we like dealing with individual celebrities because for us, we don't work with anyone if they're not excited about China. If they don't care about China, if they're not excited, we don't do it. I don't care how
That,
famous they are,
that's
right?
a non-starter.
Non-starter. So
Yeah.
they have to be emotionally bought in. It's something that they care about, something that they want to be part of, and they have to have positive attitude. If they don't, no need, right? So, we work with NBA players. I'm not going to name a lot of names because, we'll keep that confidential, but we work with NBA players, NFL players. We're talking to soccer teams, soccer players, tennis, golf, you name it, esports, because, all these different types of verticals of entertainment is what the Chinese want.
How about the entertainment celebrity in the movie and in terms
Yes,
of
we have
music?
actors,
Are you
yeah,
working with
actors,
them too?
musicians, hip hop artists, to skateboarders, to snowboarders, to
Yeah.
actors and actresses. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Sounds very exciting. Yeah.
Again, we have to filter it where they have to care about because it takes work because we
Yeah.
have to produce content to get that engagement. So if they want me to just copy and paste the Instagram post, it doesn't work,
Yep.
right?
Agree.
So again, that's the number one criteria. It's not about, hey, are you an A-list actor or B-list actor? I don't really care. It's about, do you really care about China
Yes.
and the fans?
I totally agree. Even though the many people we live in the very international society and we have a lot of international trading activity, but what I feel is we don't have a really international interaction because people, Chinese company, Korean company just export it, but they never thought about or focus on the how to serve to the
That's
local
right.
consumer.
That's right.
Right? Sometimes that they love the Korean dishes, they think they're very delicious, but many people they don't feel comfortable in a way the Korean restaurant serve the food, right? Many
That's
cases.
right.
Yeah.
That's
So
right.
I think that I mean what you're trying to do, customize, localize in a way the local consumer
Absolutely.
accept and consume. That is a very, very, very important, I think. Yeah.
Right. No, that's absolutely right. So
Yeah.
because you have to respect the culture and the language. It's
Uh,
really about respect, right?
yes.
It's not about one culture being dominant, right? It's really about respecting the culture and the language and the people that you're speaking to.
Yeah, I think that kind of business localization business model has a much bigger potential than the
Right.
simple export trading business, right? Just selling and
No,
trading. Yeah.
I mean, because when you buy stuff, it's emotional buying. Think
Mm,
about it. T-shirt is a T-shirt, hoodie is a
right.
hoodie.
Mm.
Sneaker is sneaker. Why do you buy certain brand over other? It's really about emotional connection and the story, connection to the story.
Right. Agree. And then influenced by culture and local market, the consumer in the different continent, different country, they have all different tastes and the different way to enjoy the life, right? And product and
Right.
service. So
And even in China, northern China is very different than southern China, right? Or central China. So even in a big country like China, there's regional differences that you have to cater to.
Yes. I totally agree. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, what is the next step? Next step, do you want to take your business model forward in terms of new business activity and new different business model, et cetera, et cetera? Also, the long-term vision for the Crave Global.
Right. So the next step really is, we believe we have the 3 verticals I talked about. So working with individual celebrities, working with organizations, and working with, creating new brands. It's really about execution, right? We can talk about this until my face turns blue, but we have to prove it that we can do this. So for us, short to medium term is really about execution, right? Execution on the content side, on the social media side, execution on the product side, execution on brand building side. It's really about execution. In terms of long-term brand, for us, it's about building a platform, right? We want to build a platform similar to Amazon or Alibaba where you're timeless. Amazon or Alibaba, they make money. It doesn't matter what they sell. They still make money, right? They're agnostic. So same for us. I'm not LeBron James' manager. I don't live and die by LeBron James. We can plug and play any celebrity. We can plug and play any vertical, any event, because 20 years ago, no one knew about esports. Look at how big esports is today. 20 years from now, there might be something that you and I don't know today, right? The world changes and you have to pivot. So we want to build a platform that's timeless, that we can add and subtract things as consumer behavior and technology changes.
Yes. Yeah. Agree. Yeah, the platform is, I think, most powerful business model.
Right.
And they build and grow first before the start monetizing anything, right?
And today there's no real social commerce platform today, right? If you look at, the e-commerce platform, they're just e-commerce. They're just selling a product. If you look at entertainment like Netflix or Toutiao, or they're just, content. You just watch movies, right? Or social media, and they're trying to do it, but there's no true platform for social commerce and content that merges content and commerce and storytelling in a way that what we're trying to build.
Yes. Yeah.
And my last piece is China is just a stepping stone. Is that we believe that 2 biggest consumer market in the world is China and US right now today. Once you conquer that, rest of the world is open. So, our long-term goal is to go global, right? It's not only about China, but China is a great entryway because it's the biggest consumer market in the world today.
Yes, agree. For example, Indonesia, India, it's a big, huge market as well.
Absolutely.
It also consumer behavior is Indonesia is income level quite low, but I found that the consumption behavior is very aggressive. So it might be a good market.
And eventually you're going to see a growth in middle class, just like you saw in China.
Right.
All these countries like Thailand and Indonesia, India, and all these countries, you're going to see in Africa too, right? A growth in middle class. And you know what? We're all human beings. We all want to consume. We all want to be entertained. We want to buy stuff. We want to enjoy our life, right?
Yes, true. Yeah, thank you so much to introducing your ambitious, very interesting business model.
Thank you, David. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for listening to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, share with a friend, and drop me a review. Goodbye.